Welcome back to this already the final segment for Tuesday's edition of The Price of Business. I am Kevin Price, delighted to be with you, talking about you and your business. And tell you, it's really imperative for you, unless you like to be, a solopreneur and like owning your own business in the worst sense of the word and want to constantly beat yourself up as a terrible boss. That let me tell you, in my opinion, the self-employed are like terrible bosses. No one else will work for you because you're such a difficult person to work for. If you like staying in that mode, keep doing it, working 60, 70 hours a week with very little to show for it except for gray hair, indigestion, and all other kinds of health problems. Or get an expert in your corner who can change the way you conduct your business and therefore empower you and change your life. That's what I encourage people to do all the time. I've worked firsthand with my guest today for now over a year, and he does. I've seen it in our business, and I've seen it in other businesses he has touched. That's Charles Alvarez, and he is with Cornerstone Business Academy. That's cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. Charles, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, Kevin. I think I'm going to fire my entire marketing and sales staff and just hire your company. How about that?
There you go. There you go. Well, we have clients who do that, by the way. You know that, by the way, from personal experience. And so I love it. I love it. So tell us what Cornerstone is all about.
Well, Cornerstone is about doing really 4 things for small business owners. Number 1 is generating more leads. We don't think a business really is a business until it starts marketing itself. The second is, how do we convert those into sales fast? That's the second thing that we do. And the third and fourth thing, Kevin, is kind of in the same mixture, which is what you alluded to at the very beginning of this call, which is having the right processes in place and the right people in place. They really go hand in hand because last time I checked, most of the time people actually manage the process. So the issue, there's this great book out that just came out called Scaling Excellence. And what it talks about is the problem of more, meaning, more business, more clients. It's one thing to manage a business that has 5 employees. It's completely different to manage one that has 10 or one that has 20 or 25. So really having the foresight and the strategic thought to go forward to say, okay, yeah, this may work tomorrow, but how do we position our company's business processes in the future so that when we scale, we don't have to keep finding more people. We just basically use technology and the other resources available to us and have the right business process in place in order to make that scalability as seamless as possible to where I don't have to work 60 or 70 hours a week.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you can work smart instead of merely work hard. I don't understand why people wouldn't. I think we live in a culture, honestly. I think, you think about it. We raise our kids to go to school 8 hours a day practically, not to mention all the things they do afterward. And we live in this culture that gives nobility to working hard, and we almost feel like we're cheating if we're working smart. And frankly, I always prefer to work smart all day long. Maybe I'm lazy, but maybe I think I have a better sense of what I want to do with my time. That's what I like to think.
I don't think it's laziness at all, Kevin. I think the issue is you've realized that when you leverage the talents of other people, Rockefeller said it best. He says, I'd rather make money on the efforts of 100. I'd rather make 1% of the efforts of 100 people than 100% of the efforts of my own. And he's right, because he realizes that his time is best spent on positioning the company for the future. And if you're in the weeds all day and you're constantly fixing fires, you're never going to have an opportunity to position your company for the future. So my question to the audience right now is, how much time are you spending thinking about your business and positioning for the future? What would happen if you left the business for 30 days? What would happen if you live it for 3 days or 3 hours in some cases? Because if there's nobody that's positioning the company in the future, you're not going to have a company to worry about in the future.
And that, by the way, is the way you determine whether or not you're self-employed or if you have a business. That's really the defining way right there. If you can't leave for 30 days, I don't care how many employees you have, you're self-employed. But if you can leave and it'll be as good or better while gone, that means you have a real business, a true business.
That's exactly correct. I mean, let's take an example of one of the most valuable companies in the world, General Electric. $160 billion in sales. Jeff Immelt is CEO. Here's what's amazing about GE. If Jeff left the position of CEO today, GE would not miss a beat. It would continue keeping on, because they have the policies and the procedures and the accountability measures in place to ensure that the clients are serviced well and to make sure that their people are performing at an optimal level. Mm-hmm. Look, the only difference between a $160 billion company and a $2 million company is how many zeros are at the end of those numbers. Because every business should operate similarly, which is, here's the way that we process our customers' orders, here's the way we market, here's the way that we sell, here's the way we go about finding the right people for your business, and here's the way that we go about managing the front and back office. Once you have that systematized and streamlined and have the right people working on it, you can scale as far as you want, as quick as you want.
Yeah. No question about it. No question about it. And so you help people do that. So companies where individuals are with true systems and they're a true business, they can actually enjoy their life and they have this sense of assurance that if something happens to them where they're not able to work at the level they used to work, they can still make a living.
That's right, because what would happen, think about it for a second. We're all seconds away from getting hit by a truck or having a car accident that could severely damage us, not just kill us, but damage us and our ability to work. By having those systems and processes in place, not only does it make your life easier, but it reduces our financial risk, because when you have all your eggs in that one basket, it's not fun.
No, it's not. And so, we're very easy to be, it's very easy to be decapacitated in an economy, like this, and we need to be ready for that. So, where do you start? Where do you typically start with a company?
Well, with a company, the first place that we start is really getting clarity. Who is my target market? What is our sales process? What are the major business processes that have to be in our business? Who's our competition? What are the current business processes that you have in place right now? And which one is creating the biggest amount of bottlenecks? There are some business consultants that believe they should start fixing the easiest and the less complex process first. I am just the opposite, because once I find that you actually alleviate the biggest bottlenecks or the most complex issues first, it's amazing the side effects that it has on fixing all some of the smaller issues as well. So I would typically spend the first time really getting clarity on what your business is, what you want to look like into the future, 3 to 5 years down the road, and then start working backwards on making that business happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And you also look at what people do in an organization as well, making sure everyone's doing the best job and that type of thing. Talk a little bit about that.
Well, most of the time that I come across a new situation in a business, 9 times out of 10, they say, well, our business would be better if it wasn't for that guy or for that girl or whatever. And I ask them one question that completely just humbles them, for lack of a better word, which is, well, let me ask you a question. What expectations have you given that person when it comes to what you expect from them? Mm-hmm. Very, very few business owners, Kevin, actually articulate what they expect of their employees.
Yep.
For their salespeople, how much sales do you expect to do?
And frankly, a lot of them don't even know themselves.
No, they don't.
That's part of the problem. Charles Alvarez, he's been with us today. He is a regular contributor on The Price of Business, and you can hear why. Learn more about him at cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. That's cornerstonebusinessacademy.com. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you, Kevin.
And when I'm back tomorrow, I'll have much more for you. I do want to remind you, best content here shows up over there at usdailyreview.com. While there, like it on Facebook and follow it on Twitter. And do the same thing for my friends over at priceofbusiness.com. I like to say the show never ends. It continues 24/7 at priceofbusiness.com, where you'll find audio, video, articles, and so much more. Have a great day and spend it right here on this station.